I want to say good evening to everyone that is watching this interview live on Facebook. But what like to ask the audience to please to share this video out. It's brought from Bell's Video and Audio Services podcast. And we have a special guest this afternoon. And the reason I'm so excited about this special guest because this young man has made history twice in the city of Roanoke. But before I start this interview with this young man, I want to share some things and to bring back to his remembrance of some things that happened before he became superintendent of the Roanoke City School System. This young man have always been a part of Roanoke community for quite some time, even though he left for a very short time. But he have always been a big fan of Roanoke. I want to reflect back on a event that happened, a project in this city that happened that Mr. Foster was one of the key players. If you can remember the renovation of the football field, right field, Mr. Foster was a key player in helping that come to life. And I want to bring that to the audience remembrance that this was kind of superintendent that we have back in Roanoke. We had a wonderful superintendent before he left. Mr. Chuck Markham was a wonderful superintendent, but he moved on, got promoted and moved on to higher things. But I like to thank the Board of Education for thinking of this young man and gave him an opportunity to come back home. I call it home, for him to lead Roanoke City School System. So before I start this interview, I want to go ahead and let Mr. Foster kind of introduce himself, and we're going to start this interview. Mr. Foster.
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for calling me a young man. I don't really feel that young anymore, but thank you so much for the compliment. But I am Greg Foster. I'm married. I have 2 kids. I spent 17 years here in Roanoke City Schools before leaving, going to Pike Road High School, and then once returning back here to Roanoke City Schools, once the Roanoke City Board of Education approved me to be superintendent. And I am so excited and just elated to return back here to Roanoke City Schools.
Amen. And we're glad to have you. Speaking as a citizen, I am glad to have you back in the city. Also, I remember some years ago, Mr. Foster, you and Sister Tamara Thomas and myself, we went on a recruit for teachers, and I believe it was at in Montgomery that we went to looking for teachers some years ago. Yeah. And I just want to bring that out because I want to let them know that you have always had Hannah High School at heart.
Yes.
Hannah School System at heart. And now you are, I would say, the captain of the ship.
Yes, sir.
And you're gonna keep this ship afloat. And I want to know we appreciate that, Mr. Foster. One of my first questions I want to ask you this afternoon is that being the superintendent of the Roanoke City School System, tell me how you gonna build support from the public.
Yes, sir. I think it's important, and I have, I've shared this with the teachers, and I've shared this with the community as well. I think it's very important that, we tell the story, that we have created. We have done some great things here in Roanoke City Schools. So, under Mr. Markham's leadership, he did an outstanding job, and, I want to be able to continue to tell the story, and, we have to create that story. And I think that's when we have to lean on the community, to help us with that and make sure that they're able to trust and believe that, we're doing the things that we need to do in order to continue this system to be great. So I think it's important, we're doing so many great things here in Roanoke City Schools. we just need to tell that story. We need for people at the State Department. We need people here in the community. We need people here, everywhere, knowing that we are a great school system. And so I think the more that you share that with, and you share data, and you share surveys, and you share those things with everyone, then I think that's how you get that support that you need in order to continue to be successful.
Amen. And that is so correct, because I have noticed in the past that first of all, I am an alumni of Hannah High School about 40 years ago now. I went through the system, great school system. So I graduated, got my degree here, my Hannah High School degree at Hannah High School. Next question I want to ask to you, Mr. Foster. In your opinion, what type of school system does the community want and deserve?
Well, I think definitely, the school system want a strong system, and definitely deserve a strong system academically. You want I think people want their children graduating from a school system that's academically strong, where they're able to, leave Hanley High School or leave Roanoke City Schools better than they were when they came to us. And I think it's important that we create opportunities, for our students to be anything that they want to be. We know that some students choose different career paths. So it's important that we just create those opportunities, that we work with them, and so that they can trust and believe in us, so that they can be anything that, that they want to be. They just need that encouragement. They need that guidance. And I think it is our job, to do that for our students.
That's correct. And I want to throw this out there too, Mr. Foster, to the audience, that we, as citizens of Roanoke, we need to get behind the superintendent. We don't need to get on the negative side. We need to get on the positive side, and to be a strong support to help make things happen. Because he cannot do it by himself. It's going to take all of us as a community that love Roanoke and love Roanoke City school system. We, the peoples of this city, can make it happen. So thank you, Mr. Foster, for the answer. And next question I want to ask you, how is the school system improving?
Well, I think, it was important when Mr. Markham decided, to leave and go to the State Department. I think the community here, I felt that, a lot of them, because I had, people to reach out to me and say, hey, Mr. Foster, would you consider coming back? So I think with that being said, that, the overall majority of the people here, and that's including students, I had them to reach out as well. So I think they came because they felt that we had a great school system, and they just wanted to see for us to continue to build up on that. So, anytime you're looking to improve, you got to look at, data. You have to survey, survey the community and see exactly, what are some of the things that, they think should, improve. And then you use that data, and then you create and you develop a plan in order to continue to move forward according to what, those surveys of that data states. So I think that is, the key thing for us to just continue to improve. We have had a 95% graduation rate over the last 11 years here in Roanoke City Schools. We want to continue to do that, and we want to continue to create opportunities, for our students, even if it's not that they're planning on going to college and so forth. We have had a 96% credentialing rate as well, which deals more so, with other things other than, just the ACT. So I just think we just continue to survey our people and find out what are some things that they like and dislike, and you just work from there. I think that's important.
That's wonderful. I also believe in great leadership, which I feel in my spirit that you're already a leader. You're gonna be a great leader. But how would you develop leadership amongst yourself and your staff?
Yes. Well, I think, the key, anytime you're talking about leadership, we all have areas that we can grow in. And I think it's important that, you look at professional development, and, we're very strong in that area. If you have sustained professional development, where you have opportunities for your teachers to grow, opportunities for administration to grow. When you do that, you're finding out all the latest information, some of the latest research, and you're using that in order to help guide, you as leaders. So it is important for us to have strong leaders, because that is the only way that we continue to move forward. So we need professional development on those days that we have built into our calendar. We use those days to grow. We use those days to get better. Every time we have those days available for us.
Okay, great. The next question: what is your innovative agenda?
Well, I would think that my innovative agenda, it goes back to, what we talked about previously in one of the other questions. I think it's important, for us to tell the story that, that we have created. And I think it's important that, we put out a brand that everyone over the state can see and understand that we are one of the best school systems, I think, here in the state of Alabama. And we have data to show that, where our students, I'll give you an example. A lot of systems last year, they chose to, to be virtual, the majority of the time. Whereas here in Roanoke City Schools, well, we came to school, and we have looked at, some of the data and some of the scores, and we see that it made a difference, because our scores are, are right where they should be. They're higher than, some of the other areas. So, we're, once again, so I think it's just, important that we just continue to create that story. We tell what that story is, and we create a brand that we're proud of. And, we just continue to work, to develop the things that we need to develop in order to continue to be great.
Okay. Before I go to the next question, and I call this my bonus question, how do you feel about your staff now?
How do I feel about? I think we have some of the most dedicated. I think we have, the best staff, I promise you, in America. They love students. Okay. And I think our students, they know that. Okay. Our teachers, they go far and beyond. If you go to some of the schools, we have clothing closets. We feed them. We go far and beyond to take care of those, some of those things that are smaller, so that, our students, they don't have those barriers in front of them that they have to worry about, some of those things. We want to create a culture. We want to create an environment that we're providing for them, in every avenue, of life. We want to provide them a great education, whatever we need to do in order to make our students, or help our students to be successful. That's what we want to do.
Okay, thank you. And the last question: what are your expectations of students after they graduate, and what should they know or be able to do to experience success after high school?
Well, I think, the expectations is always, for them to, to graduate from high school. But I think it's important, for us as educators, sometimes some students, and parents, for the most part, they say, well, hey, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a lawyer, a nurse, or whatever it is that they're going to be. But I think it's important that we help them to choose the career path where we think that sometimes they can be most successful. You have a lot of different surveys that we give students when they enter into high school to kind of gauge, exactly what are their interests, interest surveys and so forth. So I think, once they choose those career paths, then we help them be successful, in those areas, so that when they graduate from high school, if they want to attend a 2-year university to be a lineman, then they have that opportunity. Or if they want to go off to college to a 4-year institution and be a teacher, or whatever it is that they want to be, then they can do that as well. We give the ACT work keys, which is for students to enter into the immediately into the workforce. So what it does too, it kind of gauge, interest and so forth. So I think we're doing all the things that we need to do right now in order to help our students make those decisions. There was an article written in the Randolph Leader, probably maybe around 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember in that article, it stated that that Hanley, we do, something to the effect, how we're great at everything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important, and I think when we talk about being great at everything that we do, we're creating opportunities for our students to be successful. And that's important because, when they leave here, we need them to understand that even when you leave that, we're still here for you. And I think, that's where, we look at our vision statement and our mission statement, and, you'll see a lot of us, talking about Forever Hanley or Forever Hanley Family. Well, we don't just say that, we're going to support our kids when they leave Roanoke City Schools. We're going to be here for them, when they're here, because we love our kids. We love this community, and we want to send the best product out that we can. So you're going to hear us. You're going to hear us use the Forever Hanley Family a lot.
Mm-hmm. I want to thank you, Mr. Foster, for giving us the opportunity to come in here and interview you and taking time out of your busy schedule. Before I close out, I want to give you some last words, and we're going to end this interview.
All right. Yes. So, basically, I want to thank, the city of Roanoke. I want to thank the Roanoke City Board of Education. I want to thank, the teachers, the students. I felt really loved, to have the opportunity to come home, to Roanoke. And this is home. Once you spend, 17 years on a place, then, I've spent the majority of my career right here in Roanoke City Schools. And it is absolutely just wonderful to have the opportunity to come back here and serve in this community, to serve these students, to serve the parents, the community, the teachers, everyone involved. So I really look forward to the great things that I think that, we're going to get accomplished. Mr. Markham left some big shoes to fill. So I'm hoping I'll be able to, fill those shoes and do a great job for Roanoke City Schools. That is very important to me. I want to be a great superintendent, and I'm willing to work hard, to do that.
And the last word I want to share with you, you will be able to fill not only Mr. Markham's shoe, you'll be able to fill Mr. Gregory Foster's shoes.
All right, well, thank you.
And we appreciate you, Mr. Foster, to coming back to Roanoke and being a part of this community again.
Yes.
So this interview brought by Bell's Video and Audio Service Podcast in Roanoke, Alabama.